Greetings, everyone. So I still have my setup from earlier this week. I was doing a figure review 3 times. Each time it failed for one reason or another. First, I was using the same streaming service, StreamYard, and everything that I used for these videos, and everything was going good. And then all of a sudden, everything became blocky. So it's like very pixelated, poor quality video. And it wasn't StreamYard's fault. It was something to do with my internet service at that moment. So I went ahead and, before that, I was doing the video at night and lighting issues. So I was using like an LED lamp and things like that. But the quality of the figure wasn't coming in very well in terms of the colors and the focusing and things like that. So I started the next day with natural light, internet issues. Then decided to use OBS software. So I started that up because I could go high resolution with it, just record the video locally, and then go back and edit the thing, add some credits, things like that, and upload. That was my idea. But then I forgot. But then two things. I was setting up OBS Studio, but I forgot to include a microphone on this new scene layout. You can customize OBS so you have different what's called scenes. Scenes are basically the layout on the screen. So using 2 cameras, I had one camera for the figure, this one, so it's looking down on the figure, and the other camera was focused on me. And I forgot to set up the microphone. So I went for like 30 minutes on the video. I was happy with it. I go back to edit and upload. There's no sound. And then I noticed also that that the video, not the figure part, but what was focused on me, like for example, I would move my hand, and my hand would stop every 2 seconds. And it's a small pause, enough that it's noticeable because it's repetition. So as it goes on, it just repeats this annoying small little pause. It's like pauses for like a quarter of a second, very, very small. But what that tells me is I don't think I have a machine that's optimized for live streaming because something is causing a bottleneck. And I don't know exactly what it is. I fiddle around with settings on OBS Studio, and nothing seems to work. But when it comes to this type of setup using StreamYard, I don't have that kind of issue at all. So maybe it is not my machine directly. Maybe it is. Maybe it is an OBS Studio setting. I really don't know. But let's see. How does this figure look when in this natural light? It's focused on me. For a moment, it focused on the figure. So I'm going to try to set up the second camera. Maybe I'll do another live, or actually, I would rather record the video and then edit the thing. So I'm going to try using StreamYard again for the for a figure review, probably right after this. But today I have to set up the second printer over here with some black filament. And this is the special filament that I use to I go through an added step to smooth or suppress the layer lines. So I'm setting that up. And I thought I would go ahead and just give everyone a quick little update, how we're doing. Since coming back from Joe Fest, I've been extremely busy. There's been a lot of orders. I've been trying to get those out. And it's one thing after the other. The machines need maintenance. And especially the smaller machines, they need maintenance. These larger machines, they have their quirks too. But they have been performing well. Although I've been printing, maybe I could show right here. Yeah, I've been printing the large VSS bridge consoles, but I've been having to redo the prints, so that's taking time. They take about 10 hours to do, so basically it's a whole day. So I have 2 of these done just this week, but I had to redo them. So this is I'll go right to the point. Parts of the raft is stuck to the bottom of the print. So I have to find another way to remove the raft. And it's a strange thing, because if I print it normally and then I come back and I quickly remove the parts from the raft, nothing sticks. Everything is nice. But if I leave it a little bit longer than normal, it will basically fuse to it. And I know some people out there are going to say, "Oh, you shouldn't use a raft." Well, that's good for some applications, but not everything. For example, what I use the raft for, especially on these big machines, is that sometimes the metal plates on these machines are warped. They come from the factory and they're not perfectly flat. Well, one way is to replace it with glass. I've had issues in the past with glass, and there's a cost involved. Not that much, but you do have to set it up, and there is some things involved. So it's not a guarantee it's going to work right out. There's no guarantee it's going to work immediately. You're not going to get like good results right away unless you're lucky, because it does take some additional work, some calibration and things. This is the quickest way for me to get up and going. The only inconvenience is that sometimes the build plate might not be perfectly flat. When that happens, a raft becomes useful. Now, I've seen some build plates where it is so warped that the raft is not usable either. But in my case, there's areas where I think on both machines things are flat, or flat enough. But there are areas on this machine, especially the side from here, on this side, that I think is not completely flat. So there's like a little bubble or something like that. So to quickly remedy that, I use a raft. And by the time the raft is finished printing, it's leveled. And then I can print the actual part. So I was speculating earlier, why on some plastics. This one is a special plastic that reacts with alcohol to smooth and suppress the layer lines. But other plastics are more regular. But I wonder why sometimes when you leave a part on a raft, the part for too long, the part becomes extra hard to remove from the raft. It's like it fuses more. And I don't know why. I have suspicions. For example, with this plastic, you don't want to use water with it because it's like a sponge, and it will absorb water content from the moisture in the air. It's usually not a problem after it prints, but I wonder, like, when you print something, the there's different things that go on. Like, for example, the plastic is the plastic, not just this plastic, but the regular PLA and things like that. Are those plastics also absorbing water from the moisture, in the air, uh, even after it finished printing? Or, for example, when you do a print like this and it's not solid, there's pockets. Do you get condensation issues then inside? Because it puts a layer of hot plastic, and then it starts to cool, and then then the extruder passes by either next to it or on top of it, adding another hot layer of plastic. So you have this continuous hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold environment. So I'm wondering if there's microscopic condensation that occurs. The other thing too is that the shape of the nozzle is round. So even if you print solid, it's not going to be truly solid. There's always going to be these gaps. It's, if you ever look at videos that shows the 3D printing up close with with one of those cameras that are zoomed really, really close, it comes, the plastic comes out and then squishes on the surface. So you end up having this this oval squish, and then the next layer, another oval squish. But the thing is that there's a little gap in between sometimes, or usually. And so I wonder if you get condensation issues inside that. And, anyways, just wondering. Oh, I need to do something. Let's see. Okay. I just quickly had to do some IT stuff. So I am back. Okay, so yeah, well, let me switch over to comments just in case anyone makes a comment. Nope, okay. So yeah, I wonder about that, about the condensation in between the layers. So whatever went on with this particular plastic, it caused the raft to fuse very tightly just by sitting for too long on the build plate. So that's one reason why I don't like printing at night, because if it finishes at night, then in the morning I have to get up and quickly remove it from the machine. And if it prints earlier in the night and I don't get up in time, or don't get up early enough, then it's going to fuse and it's going to have a problem like this. So I had several of these consoles this week that I have to redo. And So I had to redo these. And right now they're being post-treated in a machine that's off the camera. And I'll show you some of the results of that. So they'll take another 24 hours before they'll be ready to get bagged and shipped out. I might be able to save this one. I say might. I'll have to get like a better or bigger grit sandpaper and just sand it down until I expose enough of the actual console. Just have to be careful I don't sand it too much, because then the legs will be kind of loose on there. So with that said, I got several other things coming. I am setting up this other printer. Instead of gray filaments, it's going to be black filaments. So I'm going to start to build up some inventory of the black consoles. I have I don't want to say new consoles, but they're the addition to the smaller consoles that I have, and I'm going to try to build up inventory for that to cut down on delays, on shipping delays. So I'm going to do that today. Go set that up today. So that's what I was in the process for. I'm setting up these machines right now for printing. This one I'm going to change right now, the filament. But what I'm doing right now is a simple calibration. This is how these machines calibrate how flat the build plates are, and it makes a map if there's any warping. As long as the warping is not too great, the machine can compensate and make small adjustments. But if the warping is too much, then there will be problems. So it's got a proximity sensor, so it gets really, really close and then backs off. So far, everything's going good. On these particular machines, the frustrating part is when the proximity sensor is not triggering properly and it wants to dig that nozzle too close. It happens. Usually on these machines, on these specific machines, the mechanism in the back, you see the red stuff there. Through vibrations, when the machine is off, there's no tension on the stepper motors, and so the weight of all of those components on that bar starts to work itself down. So not every time I do a print, but every time I start the machine, I got to do a calibration, just to make sure everything is properly leveled. When you do it with a print, things change. Temperature causes expansion, and little things can change. So if you do a print and then you do another calibration, the calibration may no longer be precise or same as it was before, and that can lead to headaches. So okay, with this one done, I'm going to start printing. So I'll print another one of these consoles. This one here, okay. 2D print. Now, when that one does, I'm going to need to change the filament on this one. Oh, but I need to have it higher up. So, it takes a bit of of hands-on when you're dealing with these machines. Sometimes, when a problem occurs, you have to, kind of be a little creative to find a workaround that's not going to be too much effort. Because you can easily be maintaining one of these machines all day long. And it has happened before where I do a calibration and it prints really well. And then the next print doesn't. And I'm like, why? Why is it not? So I do another calibration, and the calibration digs into the build plate. And then I have to, stop everything and find a way to zero everything out and try to have a starting point over again. So that way I could do another calibration and make the small adjustments. It's, it could be a big headache, these things. But when they print flawlessly, or near flawlessly. I mean, these are very good quality printers. Okay, I'm going to, if you all are curious about how to put new filaments, this is the steps I do. First, I'm going to extrude about 10 millimeters worth of plastic first, because what happens is that inside the nozzle, the old filament is cold. So you heat up the nozzle, but it has mushroomed on the inside. You can't see it with this camera. So the plastic, when it cools, you'll notice it has mushroomed. So if the plastic is not sufficiently heated up and you pull it straight out, well, that mushroom is going to act like an anchor and it's going to resist. Ooh, I gotta adjust. Gotta turn on the light and see. Okay. When it prints too close to the build plates, you'll hear a skipping sound. Or a very loud clunk sound. And what it is that the filament is being pushed through the nozzle, but the nozzle is too close to the build plate, and so it's barely coming out. Meanwhile, it's still being pushed through. So you have this bottleneck, and the bottleneck is not fast enough for the print to come out. So you end up having this resistance, and so the thing's still pushing, and then the resistance gets to a point where it starts to skip. So it pushes, but nothing comes out, so it skips. So you hear that clunk. So I do these little micro adjustments, fine-tune adjustments, each print at the beginning. And that's the other reason why I for these printers, I don't do it all the time. But for these printers, I do like to use the raft for some parts. The VSS bridges, for example, I like to use the raft for these, because then I can do these micro fine-tuning adjustments and not interfere with the actual object, the actual part. So that's another reason why I like to use the raft for this. Not all the time, but so I do a raft. I make exceptions on the parts. So some of the parts I don't print using a raft, others I do. It just depends. Okay, so with this one, okay, so I was saying that this part, you need to heat up the the plastic that's inside the nozzle, and else if you try to just pull out when it's still cold or not sufficiently heated, not sufficiently melted, that mushroom part is going to cause some resistance. And there's a lot of areas where that mushroom part can act like an anchor and kind of hook itself as it comes out. And if it breaks on the inside, then you have a broken part on the inside that you're going to have to deal with. It may cause a clog or something like that. So what I usually do is I extrude a certain amount. Just in this case, it's set for 10 millimeters. So I'll extrude about 10 millimeters, and then I'll start pulling things out. Feed. It's going to say increase the temperature. I say yes. So the machine detects when it's too cold, and it wants you to increase the temperature to pull the things out. Oh gosh. I'm still running on coffee. So that's the reason why I was like, oh gosh, because I kind of still feel the caffeine. And but I'm not going to be here for too long. It's just to give everyone a little update. Essentially, I haven't been very active on Facebook. I haven't been very active, but I've been around and I've been doing the prints. I've been trying to get things going. If you're curious, the VSS has I'm now doing the what do you call it? The finalized version. What I have been showing and what I took to Joe Fest was the prototype. So what I'm doing now is the more finalized. So I'm trying to make things a bit more modular and easier to rearrange and adjust. So I'm not ready to print anything with it yet. So when I do, I'll do some videos to show, and I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer to that. Okay, the temperature is sufficient. I say feed. So it's going to extrude 10 millimeters worth. Sorry, can't really see anything with this camera in the way. Maybe I could just simply move this down. Need to keep the tripod there. Okay, so no, you still can't see it. The camera's too far. So it has done 10 millimeters worth. So we'll clear that out. Then I go in the reverse direction. I'm going to say 200 millimeters. Retreat. Pull it back. So I can see the direction of the feeding. I forget what they're called. It's a gear that has, well, it's a gear, and so as the gear goes counterclockwise, it's pulling the filament out. Some excess plastic. Getting a little bit more slack right here. You can kind of see it. Instead of being so vertical, it's going further out. Oh yeah, so I'm slowly taking apart the prototype VSS. Going to try to use some previously made parts like the floors and things and just move it to the new VSS. But I'm doing it like this because I want to make these beams and things that I do easily accessible for anyone to just say, "Oh, I want to do the same thing," or "I want more," I want something like that for my own projects. So I am preparing everything for better production. I am with the beams in particular. I'm preparing those for injection molding. Um, I'm still waiting to. What's this? Still waiting to get some newer machines later this year, and let's see. I guess it's still going. So a figure is about 100 millimeters. So it's going to be about this much. It's going to pull back. I'm just keeping my eyes on the screw part here, this ear. When that stops, I'll try to pull the plastic out, then replace the spool with a newer spool. Oh, there's so many things to do, and new ideas, and so I do have some new ideas. It's just time, just one person. I wish I could clone myself, you know. So after this, I think I'm going to try to do the figure review using the StreamYard streaming platform. And okay, good. It stopped. So let's see. Oh, come on. Why is it stuck? I don't like that. So let's say yeah, I don't know. It really got stuck. Resistance coming out. So I fed it 10 millimeters forward. I'm going to try to do it again. I don't know why. Maybe it'd be better if I have the machine pull it. Hmm. Finally. Uh, Okay. Oh, and I'll show you guys what I mean by mushrooms with this. Oh, so I'm going to cut it right out here. Okay, now that I got the spool secured, so when it comes out, kind of looks like that. This is nicely clean. I've seen it before where you have like the very front. If you look at it really well, you see how it's not tapered. You know, it's kind of wide at the very tip. I've seen it worse. I've seen these where you have a bit of material about that much right about here in the front, you know, so you end up having this small streamer coming out of it and a small streamer between this and that blob, and then you have the blob piece that's stuck. You know, I've seen it where this is nice compared to what I was fearing when it came out, because the other it could get stuck inside the machine, and then you got to deal with cleaning a clog. And these machines are not extremely friendly when it comes to cleaning. It just depends where. If it's here, oh, I don't know what to do. That should be easy, but here, I don't know what to do. The tube itself is easy to remove, but if something gets stuck inside here, then you gotta disassemble more things. And so far, I haven't had an issue where I had to disassemble anything here. So, consider myself lucky on that. So I gotta put this back in this bag. Silica gel. I could do with 2. Keep it really dry. These Ziploc bags for the filaments, they're not extremely good. Sometimes these silver ones are better than the clear ones that usually come with filament. So I'll keep that there for now. Now I gotta do this. If you've seen other videos that I have done in the past where I am changing the filament, you'll see me go through the same steps. You always want to cut these the new filament at around a 45-degree or something like that slant. And what I usually do is I try to remove the curve on the filament string. It's a filament thing, but anyway, I try to remove the curve so it's straight. And the reason is it helps go into all of these holes and stuff in the extruder assembly. If it's curved, then part of it wants to angle and get stuck somewhere. But if it's flat, if it's straight, it's a bit easier to align everything. Okay. So I push it all the way that I can, and then I tell the thing to like extrude some, and I check to see if it's coming out. Good, I see black coming out. Where's my needle nose pliers? Oh, there it is. So you can see the new, the old gray and new black. Okay. Ideally, I should do. Ideally, I should do another. Put a magnet here. I have to just always find it. So ideally, I should do another calibration, but I'm not. I'm going to kind of wing it. And see how that goes. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, I've got the little SD card here. Allergy. So I got the SD card here. I'm going to load it up and see what's on there. And yeah, there's lots of stuff I want to talk about, really. And there's things about like figure reviews, other items I want to just talk and discuss. There's things like, the pop culture stuff. Movies, for example, the Snake Eyes movie. He-Man, streaming. Like for example, I was just reading before coming online, before coming live. I was reading that Netflix is clamping down on VPNs at the residential level, and there's some consequences involved. It's affecting people who have normal services and things like that. The way Netflix is going on, recently, it's sometimes I wonder if it's worth keeping my subscription. I am finding I am watching Netflix less and less these days, and although I don't use a VPN to watch anything, I can see that it's useful, especially if there's content from another country that you want to watch. And it's I don't see why there would be a problem. I know there's things like sponsors or licensing, but I think that's beyond the scope of Netflix when it comes to a VPN, because essentially you're saying your computer, which is physically in one location, is using the bandwidth that goes to another country. And I'm at the opinion a computer changes according to what you need it to do. It's a tool that changes. For example, if you need to use something like Microsoft Word or something like that, well, now your computer is a word processor. And if you need to use an Excel spreadsheet, well, now your computer is whatever classification an Excel spreadsheet type thing is. It's usually like a financial thing, money, whatever, a type of calculating program. So in that sense, the tool changes. The hammer becomes something else, and changes depending on the application you're using. And so I personally don't see a real serious problem unless you're trying to do you know something nefarious with a VPN. But other than that, I don't really see much of an issue. No wonder I don't see anything. Okay. So I got a console here. What console is it? Now I have to go because it's got these file names, and I'm like, well, the file name's not as descriptive. It was descriptive when I made the file name, but now I got to go back and figure it out. So, has anyone seen the new He-Man series? I wanted to comment on that, but I've just been so busy. As time goes on, I find myself more busy and less time to comment on He-Man. Okay, so consoles. I gotta get an idea of what this is. Well, it looks like I found the console file name. Let's go back and take a look. Version 3, console 1A. Well, these are not the consoles. Well, yeah. Now I see the consoles. Version 1A, version 2B. Why is there two? Now I go to the original drawings. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. This is what I want. This is what I want to print. Okay, very good. I don't have to do anything. I can just take out this SD card and go with it. Let's see, print. Version 3, 1A, print. Oh, needle nose. Okay, can you guys see this? I minimized. So it's starting its print. I don't know if this one's going to have a raft or not. Looks like it's too close. Okay, now it's coming out okay there. Still printing too close. Still too close? Not sure. Is it printing? Okay, it is printing something. Okay, I'm going to leave it alone right now and see how this goes. It was printing too close to the build plate. Maybe I should have done a calibration, a second calibration. I'm going to slow the speed to help ensure that the prints have enough time to come into contact with the surface before it moves on. Why is it going back there? What's going on here? What's going on? Yeah, it's screwed up. I don't know what's doing. That's so weird. And it's not extruding anything either. It's just moving. Stop. Stop printing, yes. Now it's like, it's so weird. So settings, move there. That's weird. I've never seen that. I've never seen that before. Do I try it again? Well, let me try it again and see what happens. If it does it again, then I'll check the file or just recopy the file. I need to remove the old stuff that just printed there. That's so weird. That's so weird. I've never seen this printer do anything like that. So let's do a leveling. Actually, no, let's don't do, because I didn't clear the previous adjustments. So that's going to screw up the leveling. So let me go back. Try it again. Same file. Okay, it's got to heat up. That is so weird. I don't know what happened. But you saw that, right? You know, it was like started to go to the back. I guess what was the thing was front and then here and then goes back and down there or something like that. And it wasn't extruding either, it was just moving. If it does it again, I will just copy the file on top of it, the original file back on top. You see, this is what goes on at times, and causes delays too. Because now I got to figure this out. If it doesn't work the second time, then I have to play detective. That means that this machine will be out of commission until I figure out what's going on. Okay. So I'm going to adjust. I'm going to back down to 0. Okay. Now I'll take a look. Yes. Too close. I'll go up a little bit. Let's go up more. I'm going to increase the speed back to 100%. Right now, I don't know if it's too close or not because it's following the trail of the previous print. Let's raise it up just a little bit. Okay, now it's doing the actual part. Okay. It's printing the outline of the shape, the bottom of the shape. Well, right now it's printing more than it did on the previous, I think. Because the previous, it didn't, when I removed the leftovers, when I was clearing the build plate and I was removing what printed, I only had to remove from here because it didn't print anything from here. Look at this. No. Let's go back. Back down to 0. Maybe the file is corrupted. Stop. Yes. Okay, now suddenly it just gushes out a lot of filament. Settings. Move to there. So this is not good. So take this out. throw this back in. Turn it on. I don't know what. Oh, sorry, I didn't see the comments. Okay, let's see comments. Hello, I don't know what the type of machine, but purge the memory of the machine just in case. I wish there was an easy way to do that other than turn it off. But yeah, maybe turn it off for a while, turn it back on, may do it. So if this fails, yeah, I'll try that too. Yeah, never overlook the obvious. Will do. Let's see, I need to go to Explorer, File Explorer. Let's see, down here. USB drive. Well, the file size doesn't look bad. 5,627 kilobytes. Let's go to the original, if I still have it up. I guess I took it off. Let me remove this. Click on this. Oh, I have another idea too. Hey, maybe I could show what's going on here. This might be an interesting, let's see, share the screen. Share screen. Let's see, let's try window. Cura. Okay. For fun, let's load up the, can you all see this? Yeah. For fun, let's copy the path. Let's load up that file, the G code, and just take a look at the G code that's on the USB stick or USB thing. Open file. Okay. This one. Open. Invalid file. Failed to load. Maybe that's the problem. I'm curious. Open file. What about another one? How about this one? Invalid file. File. Wonder why. Open file. Let's try something that I did successfully for JoeFest. Well, it's taken a while. So, but looks like there is some progress. So what I'll try to do is copy the original file back onto this USB XD card, or no, it's a micro SD card. Anyway, whatever. Yeah. Okay. So this loads up. So what I'm going to do is just replace it, and if it's still corrupted, then I will have to see about getting another micro SD card. So let me move this out the way. Let me so this one was corrupted. What is this one? File open. (801 kilobytes), something really small. Oh, okay. So this printed. So let me try another. Open file. Says ladder. Okay, so this is the ladder for the harpoon item. New project. Are you sure it says yes? So let's see. Let me delete this. Let me delete this. So let's see. Let's see. I need to move these out of the VSS folder and put them under console folder or something like that. Consoles version 3, 2007. I mean, not 2007. 2020. STL, CR10 Pro. So it's 5,627 kilobytes. Okay. Copy here. And I want to do this other one. Copy. Paste. Okay, minimize this. Now I will load these up. Okay. Now I will load these up in the program and see if they actually load. Open file. Let's start with the most important one, this one. By this time, the other attempt, the previous attempt, said invalid file. So fingers crossed. Okay, it's loading the G code. Okay, good. So this one no longer corrupted. Maybe just a simple corruption, which is very strange because I could close that up. It's very strange because I don't do anything with these USB stuff other than leave them in the machine. Take them out, go to this USB thing, and go back. I mean, they don't even sit on the table. Okay, turn that off, pull it out. Okay, put it back in. Now for I gotta clear what was printed. What's you know, it's not easy to see when you have black filament on a black build plate. Let's see now. Okay. I think I got everything. So let's try it again. Print this one. Okay, it is. It's heating up. Just cleaning excess stuff that's on the nozzle. Okay. If this fails, I'll do it again, but I will turn off the printer first, then make another attempt. And if that fails, I will probably take a look at the card again, load it up in the software. If it's corrupted, then I will have to see about ordering another one, another card. And that gets a little tricky because, sometimes they don't design these machines in general. I'm not talking specifically this brand, but just in general. Sometimes they don't design these machines to use the latest USB standards. So you can get a very high-end SD card and plug it in and find out that it's not the right classification. SD cards do have a classification, and so it's possible to get like a 32 gig micro SD card. You put it in, and it doesn't work, and then you have to order another one, get another one. Okay, so it's doing its thing again. It's making a priming line that's going around. This is not using a raft. So it's doing a priming line. So it's going to go around 3 times. And then it'll start to do the actual structure. Left over from the previous. Okay, it is extruding. It's doing its thing. Looks like it got some junk. Okay, it did the entire outline of the bottom of this console. It's still doing the outline. Um, what it's doing is that it does the outer, or in this case, it's doing the inner. I can show better. This is not the actual part that's being printed, but it'll give a good idea. So what it's doing is that it's printing the the inside outline first, and then now it's doing the outside outline. So it's going back and forth like that. So that's what it's doing now. And this is better progress than what it was doing. So I'm assuming there's not going to be a problem from here on out. But it's so strange because I don't take that SD card out to do anything with it other than add content, add or remove content. I guess I need to see about ordering another one just to have it on standby. So this was unplanned. I wasn't planning to show any excitement. So far it's looking good. It's hard to see because it's black filament, very thin, on a black build plate. Oh, so once it does the outline, both inside and out, then it goes back in and it starts filling in all of all the stuff between the outlines. So right now it's still doing the outline. It does like several passes, so the outline is not thin. It's got a certain thickness. And that's the reason why, I don't like to leave the machines running at night or unattended, because you never know when something's going to go on, something that's unplanned, something that could cause damage to the machine. In this case, it wasn't, but it's got these stop. I don't know what it's called, stopgap. I don't know these impact sensors, so it knows when it goes too far. Although I don't know about this side because I don't see any sensor on that side. But when it goes back this way, and what it did, it went all the way. It was doing nothing. It was just moving up front, and it went all the way, and it touched the sensor. But it doesn't have sensors everywhere. So Fingers crossed from here on out it's not going to cause any problem. Well, so that's it basically. Now the rest of the video I'm going to end the video, but now the rest of the day I am going to work on a new idea while this does this. So this is currently for some orders. I got to print these things today. This should not take all day long. I should be able to get 2 to 3 of this particular console out today by tonight. Oh, and that reminds me. Okay, I got this other part in this machine. Okay, just get it out. I'm using that particular special filament that requires a separate step to help suppress the layer lines. And it was just sitting in the machine, not doing anything after getting a vapor bath. So it's never a good idea because, as it dries, if there's any drops, the drops are going to accumulate in certain areas, and then when that dries, it's going to have a bulge in that area. So you get to see, this is what the console goes through. So this is the first pass. You can see it's already glossy. I don't want it to fall, so it's already glossy. And this one is untreated. You can see the difference between the glossy and the untreated. The untreated is shiny, but it's not glossy. So, and the thing is that it reacts with alcohol. So if you have one of these black VSS bridges, consoles for the bridge, or just one of my, smooth prints, whether it's the white or black, or this color blue, greenish blue. They're made of this plastic called PVB, and it reacts with alcohol. So if you want to get your console smoother still, or your item smoother still, I would say just get a Q-tip, dip in some alcohol, and just keep passing. Eventually the surface will become tacky, and then you'll start noticing the color of the plastic being left on the Q-tip, the cotton swab. And I would just say the higher concentration of alcohol, the better. Probably around 70, or in this case, I'm using 91%. I've had issues in the past where I used like 97 point something percent, and it was leaving a white residue. So I don't know why it was doing that. Maybe there was water content that was reacting. So so this is the first pass. Then what I'm going to do now is let it dry flat like this for a bit. Then I'll take another console that has gone through this process already in the morning, and I'm going to flip it to the other side. So I'm going to be doing 2 passes each in this orientation, and then flip it to this orientation. And for about 30 minutes each. And then in between each time, I'm just going to let it sit on a table and just let it dry. And so tomorrow, it's going to be drying all day, so it's not going to be shipping tomorrow. But the day after, it'll be safe to put it into a plastic bag for shipping. See, what happens is that it gets sticky, and as the filament begins to dry from the vapor bath, it'll get tacky, and then it'll be touchable. Right now, I don't want to touch it anywhere except the bottom because it will leave my fingerprints. And then any smudges and anything like that. So you don't want to get anything like that on your prop. So alcohol is what I use to suppress the layer lines of these. So I'm going to get the other one. So you can see here, this one's been through the process in the morning. It's not safe to touch everywhere, but it's safe enough that I can touch it without fear of leaving any prints or anything like that. The thing is that if I leave my finger on there long enough, I feel a little grab. It's not leaving anything, but you could feel that it's not pure, you're not perfectly dry. So this one was like this in my little jig that I made. And so now I'm going to have to do it like this. Unfortunately, the machine that I use for it has a limited height. So this is about as tall as the machine will be. Anything taller, I'll have to find a different process. It works best when it's flat, but this is too wide for the machine as well. So I have to improvise. Maybe I could do it like this. So okay, so I got that part back in the machine. Okay, so I'm going to after uh, after these prints today, I'll have something I can start working with to smooth out for tomorrow. And that part got stuck. I really need to make a better jig for that. But anyways, the part's coming out. Let's see. So okay. So as I was saying, after I print these, there's another part that needs to be printed for these consoles that will help start making the consoles more useful for folks. And so I hope to start printing those tomorrow. What I want to do is print one and one, so I print one regular console and then one of these new consoles, back and forth like that, and alternate. And when I have enough built up for inventory, then I'll put them on the store. But I'll post pictures so people see what's coming. Now I also let me see. Tricky. Okay. Yeah, so it got stuck. It wasn't moving. It needs to rotate inside the machine. So okay. So anyways, yeah, you can see there's so many things going on. Well, I think this is a good stopping point now. I wanted originally just to keep the video around 15 minutes, but with the excitement from this thing, went overboard. So, okay, folks, thanks for watching, and I'll post more content later. And don't forget, if you like the video, please like and subscribe, because that really helps. Okay, catch you later. Thanks.